Today I am going to show you how to make some SuperDuo peyote and to make sections in between with right angle weave and to make some little components so you can see what they look like in the front and here. I'm going to show you how to make the sections, how to divide them with the right angle weave, how to change the numbers, how to make the components in front here. So, anyway, this is what it looks like. Get really close. This is really pretty. Someone asked me a while back to do a tutorial on peyote with SuperDuos. I said I would do it, but I hate doing what has been done a million times on the channel already. So I wanted to make something different. So when I started messing with it, I figured out how to do some prismatic right angle weave in between and some components that are a little different. But if you want to just do the peyote, you can do that too. Anyway, this is what we're going to do today. And this is a 22-inch necklace. You can change the length by changing the number of beads in your components or the amount of components that you make. And let's go ahead and look at our material list for this particular necklace. Okay, for this project we're going to be using SuperDuo beads and we're going to be using a lot of SuperDuos. Make sure you have a couple of great big tubes, like 20-gram tubes, 2 to 3 tubes, just to make sure you have enough. And of course, if you want to make a bracelet too, or whatever that matches, you want to make sure you have a lot of SuperDuos. Mine is a turquoise, opaque turquoise gold vitriol. And because I buy in bulk, I cannot tell you how many grams I have out at this point. Then you're going to need a 3x2 rondelle crystal. These are very tiny rondelles, and this is a Chinese crystal, and it's an opaque blue, really light blue. And again, I'm not sure of the exact name or color. I bought it at a bead show, so it didn't have a tube. And then some 4mm round glass pearls. I'm using a check buttercolor round pearl. And then some 8/0 seed beads and 11/0 seed beads. Both of these are Toho. This one, my 8/0 is a rose gold, and my 11/0 is an antique golden bronze. Then you'll need some fireline. You're going to need a lot of thread for this project. I'm using 8-pound smoke fireline. I find that the smoke color thread works a lot better in the stitch. It doesn't stick out as much. The crystal color, you can see a lot more. Unless you're using very light color combination of beads, you'll want to use a smoke fireline for this. And I'm using 8-pound. And you'll need a size 10 or 12 beading needle. I'm using a size 10. Then I'm going to be using a toggle clasp. This is just a copper, antique copper color fancy toggle. Let's go ahead and get started with this project. Okay, so thread onto your needle a long, comfortable length of thread. I say that because you're going to need to extend or tie on thread through this project several times. So keep that in mind and start with the length that you're comfortable using and that you don't have to extend immediately, but that will not tangle very easily. So we're going to begin this project by picking up 3 11/0 seed beads and an 8/0. Let's get in a little closer here. Let me rearrange my camera just a little bit. And we're going to start by doing connected units of right angle weave. So what I mean by that is bring these beads to the end of your thread. Leave yourself a good 12 to 14 inch tail so that you can extend, or excuse me, so that you can put your clasp on this end, or just leave enough that you can extend to put your clasp on. Then we're going to go through the first bead we put on. So this little 11/0 here, I'm going to come through and pull this into a unit of right angle weave. And then I'm going to sew back through all 4 of the beads just to secure them because we're not going to tie a knot. So go through all of the beads and then come back through the first bead you started in. like so. Now your tail is on this side and your thread is in this bead right here. So what we need to do is sew over to this bead right here. So just sew into the middle 11-0 and then the next 11-0 right here. We're going to connect our units of right angle weave by adding 3 beads to each unit. We'll be sharing this bead right here. Get in a little bit closer. I'm coming out towards my 8-0 seed bead, so I know that I need to pick up my 8-0 seed bead first. Whichever direction your thread is coming out, if it's coming out towards the 11-0s, you'll pick up 11-0s first to do your next stitch. If it's coming out towards the 8-0, you'll pick up the 8-0 first. So I'm going to pick up an 8-0 and 2 11-0s. I do not need more than 3 beads because I'm sharing this bead here. It will be my 4th bead. And then I'm going to go into the top of this bead, or the opposite end from which my thread is coming out, like so. And I'm going to pull this down into a unit, like so. Now I'm coming out of this bead that I started in. I'm going to go into the 8-0, pull my thread through and give a little tug to straighten out my unit, and then go into the side bead here. And again, I'm going to make another unit, but this time I'm coming out towards my 11-0s, so I will pick up 2 11-0s first, and then an 8-0. And I will go into the opposite side of the bead from which my thread is coming out, like so. And then I have to sew over to this bead so that I can do my next unit. So I'll go through the middle 11-0, give a nice tug as you pull through to straighten out your unit and tighten it, and then go into the next bead, like so. And this time I'm coming out towards the 8-0, so I'll pick up an 8-0 and 2 11-0s and go into the opposite side of the bead my thread is coming out of. And then now I'm coming out here. I need to sew through the 8-0 this time, give a tug, and then into the 11-0 here. And make another unit. I'm coming out towards the 11-0s. I pick up 2 11-0s and an 8-0. And then go into the opposite side of the bead my thread is coming out of. Then I will sew over to the side bead here, as we've been doing all along. And I have 5 beads. Now I want to turn this into a circle, and I want it to consist of 6 8-0 seed beads, so it will be 6 units. So what I'm going to do is just kind of curve it in my hand like this. I'm coming out of this bead here, coming out towards the 8-0, so I know I need to pick up an 8-0, and then I'm going to use this bead, my very end bead, on my last unit, or my first unit, I guess you would call it, and go up through that bead from the 8-0 side and pull this together. Now I'm coming out of the top of this 11-0. I need to pick up an 11-0 to complete my unit and go into the inside of this bead here. So the opposite side my thread is coming out of to connect it. If I can get my needle in there, there we go. Just like so. Pull this down, give it a little tug, and you see I have a unit here. But now I need to secure this unit, so I need to go through the 8-0, hold on to your beads and give a tug, and then I need to go through the side bead I'm connected to in this unit. So just this unit, I'm going to sew back through all the beads. So I'm in that side bead, now the middle bead here, and then down into this side bead here, and then I can come up into, I'm going to push my tail thread to the outside because this is going to be the inside that we're going to grow into a cup here. So I'm going to go into this 8-0 seed bead, and now I'm going to begin doing peyote with my SuperDuos between these beads. So what I need to do is pick up a SuperDuo and go into the next 8/0 seed bead. As you pick up your SuperDuos, just look at them and make sure both holes are open, because if one's blocked, it's not any fun when you try to do your next row. So from 8/0 to 8/0, make sure your thread doesn't twist. Place a SuperDuo seed or bead in between. The first row is kind of awkward, and you can see it's already starting to cup a little bit. It's kind of hard to hold on to, but just make sure your beads go in straight. They won't go in real tight. You're cupping it and pulling it together, but until you get all the way around, and then we'll sew through and secure this first round, it's going to be a little thready in between the stitches, and that's okay. So now I have gone all the way around. I'm going to go into the next 8/0. I'm coming out of this 8/0. I'm going to go into this 8/0 and the SuperDuo here. And in this particular round, we're just going to go ahead and sew back through all of these beads, all of the 8/0s and the SuperDuos, just to make sure that it's nice and secure, because this is the end of our necklace and we want it to be strong. So let's go ahead and sew back around all of these beads. So go into the 8/0s and all of the SuperDuos. Until you get all the way around. And I have had too much caffeine this morning, obviously, because my hands are shaking. I apologize. Once you get all the way back around, you go through the last 8/0 and SuperDuo, and sometimes it's hard to find the hole in the SuperDuo because the seed bead is laying tight against it as you pull through. So just go through the 8/0 and then just the SuperDuo, and you'll be able to find the hole better. So I'm all the way back around. Now I'm coming out of this bottom hole of just the SuperDuo. I'm not coming out of an 8/0, just a SuperDuo, and then I'm going to go into the top hole of that SuperDuo. Pull my thread through, make sure it's nice and tight. You can cup these up a little higher if you like. This next stitch is going to do that for you anyway. Pick up a SuperDuo and then go from top hole to top hole in all of the SuperDuos, placing a SuperDuo in between. And like I said, this is kind of hard to hold on to. You can wrap your thread around your fingers if you'd like, your tail thread, to hold it steady, but that doesn't work very well for me, so I'm not going to do that. I just kind of power through the first one, just putting SuperDuo in between SuperDuo and all the top holes. And I tug as I go through. The next layer will tighten it up even better, but you want to make sure you don't have a lot of slack, or your stitch will not be very pretty. Okay, so this is my next to last SuperDuo here. So I'm going to put that in and then pull everything tight. And as I put my last SuperDuo in, I'm going to go from this top hole to this top hole, and I'm going to go into the bottom hole of the first bead sticking up in the row I just made. So I am going to pick up my last SuperDuo. I'm going to go into the top hole of the round, my previous round, and then into the bottom hole of the round that I've just put on, right there. Put this bead in, cup everything, pull everything tight, and then go into the top hole of the bead you just put in. So I went into the bottom hole of the previous round. I'm going to go into the top hole of this bead. Now as you do this in the first round, it tends to get kind of sloppy, but you can see where you're at right here. Now, what you're going to do is pick up your next Super Duo. That is your step up. So you go through the bottom hole of the previous one and then go into the top hole of the bead that you've just put on. Now you're going to go the opposite direction because your thread is coming out this way. You're going to pick up your next Super Duo and you're going to go into the Super Duo in the direction your thread is coming out in the top hole. So you're going to go, you're coming out of this top hole, you're going to pick up a bead, and you're going to go into the next one's top hole. Now you can see my previous layer is kind of loose. That's okay because as I do this and as I tug, it tightens things up for me. So I'm just going to go from this top hole to this top hole. I know it looks like a jumbled up mess, but really when you're holding it, it makes a lot more sense than trying to watch it on video here. So from this hole to this hole now. And then again, pick up another bead from this hole, this top hole, to this top hole. And then we're going to put in our last bead now, our 6th bead. So we're coming out of this top hole in our previous round. We're going to go into the top hole of the bead in the previous round that it's next to, right here, and into the bottom hole of the bead that we put in to start our new round. Pull that bead in, make sure it lays nicely, give it a little tug, and squeeze your piece together here. And then go into the top hole of that bead you just put on, right there. And now you're going the opposite direction again. And you're coming out this way, so just the direction that your thread is coming out is the direction you're going to travel back around your piece, placing your beads. So we're going to go from top hole to top hole again. So each 6th bead that you put in, you will have to step up. And like I said, it makes a lot more sense. While it's in your hand, you're holding it and you can see where you're at a little bit better. I'm trying to hold this so you guys can see, but don't know if I'm succeeding. And you can see how my piece is building on itself, making a nice tube now. Okay, so that was my 5th bead. Here is my 6th bead. I'm coming out of this top hole. I'll go into the top hole of the previous round and into the bottom hole of the bead that I started the round I'm working on in. And just this last bead likes to twist. And then go into the top hole of the bead you're exiting from. And now you're going the opposite direction again, and you just pick up your Super Duos and you continue going. We're going to do this for 10 rounds, and I'll show you how to count that. And then we will change up our stitch a little bit. So just continue going all the way around. Until you do your step up, then you know that you have a complete round and then you can count your beads. So I've gone all the way around. Here's my last one. I'm going to go through the 2 beads here. I hope I'm in camera. Let me back off a little bit. And then I'm going to go into the top hole of that bead. So now I know I have complete rows all the way around. I'm going to count my beads this way. My rows, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I know I have 5 rows. I need to make 10. So we're going to go ahead and continue doing the stitch off camera until we have 10 rows of Super Duos, and then we'll be back. Just remember to count your beads like this. Okay, so I have done my 10 rows. Let's get in and I'll show you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm coming out of this bead right here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to change things up quite a bit. Instead of putting SuperDuos in here, we are going to put 8/0 seed beads between each SuperDuo in the top holes. So I'm coming out of this one, I'm going to pick up an 8/0 and go into the next SuperDuo. And I'm going to do that all the way around, going from top hole to top hole in the SuperDuos, placing an 8/0 seed bead in between them until I have placed all 6. Now, when I come through my last one, I'm also going to come through the 8/0. So I'm coming through the SuperDuo and the first 8/0 I put on. Now, just because I want this to be a little bit more secure, because I'm going to start doing stitches of right angle weave through these 8/0s, I'm going to go ahead and go through one more SuperDuo and one more 8/0, just to make sure I'm not going to pull my 8/0s out of whack as I do this. They're in there pretty securely. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick up 3 11/0 seed beads onto our needle, like so. I'm coming out of this 8/0. I'm going to go into the opposite side of this 8/0 and the SuperDuo it's next to, like so. Pull this down into a unit of right angle weave around this 8/0 seed bead, and then I'm going to go into the next 8/0. Because I'm coming out of the SuperDuo here, I'm going to go into this 8/0. I am now going to do connected right angle weave again. So I'm going to pick up 2 of my 11/0 seed beads. I have this 8/0 and this 11/0 that will make my 4 beads in my unit. So I'm coming out right here. I'm going to go into this bead, the side bead on the previous unit, and into the 8/0 that I'm coming out of on the opposite side here, and pull. Now I've made another unit of right angle weave. I'm going to go through the next SuperDuo and the next 8/0. I'm going to pick up 2 more 11/0 seed beads. I'm going to go from this side of this 8/0 into this 11/0 in my previous unit and into this side of the 8/0. So I'm just making a circle around the 8/0 with my beads, pulling it down like so. Then I will go into the next 8/0 or SuperDuo and 8/0. I will pick up 2 11/0 seed beads, go into my previous round 11/0, and then into the 8/0 my thread is in right now, and pull it down. Go into the next SuperDuo, the next 8/0 seed bead, and do the same thing again. I'm going to pick up 2 11/0 seed beads, and I'm going to go into the side arm of the previous unit that I just created, and then into the 8/0 my thread is currently in, and pull. Now we're coming to our last 8/0 seed bead, so we're going to go through the SuperDuo and into that seed bead. Now we've got this 8/0, this 11/0, and this 11/0 for our last unit. We're going to connect those 3 together. All we'll need to do is pick up 1 11/0 to go into the top of this unit we're creating. So we're coming out of the 8/0 here. We're going to go into this 11/0 here in the first unit we created, and then pick up an 11/0, go into the last unit we just created in the side arm of that unit right here, and then into the 8/0 we started in, right here. Now our unit is complete. We need to sew up to this top bead so that we can make our next round. So we're going to go into the side here, and then we're going to go into this top bead here in the unit we just created. Okay, so we're coming out of the top bead in our right angle weave of 11/0s right here. And you can see off camera I went ahead and extended my fire line. If you do not know how to do that, then look on my beginner's channel, which is called GGC's Beginning Beaters. And video number 4, it is labeled video number 4, will show you how to do that. Now, we're coming out of this top bead in the right angle weave right here. We're going to get really close. And now we're going to do another row of right angle weave. However, we're going to use 8/0 seed beads in this row. So I've picked up an 11/0, an 8/0, and an 11/0, and then I'm going to go into the opposite side of the bead I'm coming out of, right here, and pull these down. And that's my first unit in my next row. I have to kind of tug, guys, because I have an extension here, so hang on just a second. Okay, just get my extension of my fire line in there. Made my extension a little big. There we go. So now I have 1 unit of right angle weave here with an 8/0 seed bead. I'm going to do connected right angle weave again. So I'm going to go into my next 11/0 that is in the center of the next unit right here. So I'm coming out of this bead here. I'm going to go into this bead, back off just a little, and pull through. So it is the bead that sticks up the most in your next unit of 11/0 right angle weave. And then we're going to pick up an 11/0 and an 8/0, and we're going to come back into the side arm of the first unit and then into the bead our thread is coming out of, like so, and pull. Then we're going to turn it, and we're going to go into the next top bead in the next unit of right angle weave, the center bead. Then pick up an 11/0 and an 8/0 and go into the side bead of the previous unit, the one next to the 8/0 and closest to the bead you're going into, and then into the bead that you're coming out of, like so. Turn it, go into the next center bead in the next unit of right angle weave, right here. We'll get close one time here so I can make sure you're seeing everything really well. So I'm coming out of this center bead in this unit of right angle weave, and I'm going to pick up an 11/0 and an 8/0. I'm going to go into the side arm of the previous unit here, and then into the bead my thread is coming out of, like so, and pull these down into another unit. Give it a little tug, make sure my beads go down into their proper form, and then go into the next bead here in the next unit, the center bead in the next unit. And again, 11/0, 8/0, and then into the side arm of the previous unit and into the bead I'm coming out of. And now we're going to go into our last unit. So here's the 8/0, here's the unit of 11/0s that connect to that 8/0. We're going to go into that center bead in that unit right there. Now we have to connect this bead in this unit, this bead in this unit. So we're going to pick up an 11/0. Well, first we have to come up into this bead right here. On the side that my thread is coming out, I'll go into the unit here and pull my thread through. And then I'll pick up an 11/0 seed bead, or excuse me, an 8/0 seed bead to finish the top of my unit here. Go into this side here, and then go into the bead that I'm connecting to, right there, making my final unit with the 2 units on either side. Now I'm in this bead here. I have to go up this side bead and pull, and then I'm going to go into this 8/0 seed bead right here. Now, I am going to put a little embellishment in the center of this by picking up a crystal and going from, so I've got my 2x3 crystal and going from 8/0 to 8/0. I'm going to back off now and go from 8/0 to 8/0, putting my 3x2 rondelle in between my 8/0 seed beads. And they may look a little funny, the 8/0s, but as you do this, it'll straighten them out. And we'll just go all the way around, putting in 6 beads. My thread must be tangled there. After I put in my last one, I will go through the 8/0 and the crystal and the next 8/0 behind it. So I'm going through this 8/0, this crystal, and this 8/0. And pull my last crystal into place. And then I'll just arrange everything, make sure it looks nice. Sometimes your right angle weave will pucker a little if you want it to be recessed, so just push it in, and that's what you should have right there. Now we're going to do right angle weave out of these 8/0 seed beads again, so that we can finish our embellishment here, and then move back into doing peyote. So we're going to pick up 3 11/0 seed beads, and we're coming out of this side. We're going to go into the opposite side of the 8/0 seed bead. Pull these down, and there's your first unit. Now, tiny bit closer here, go into the next crystal and the next 8/0 and exit the 8/0. Pull your thread through, pick up 2 11/0 seed beads, go into the 11/0 in the first unit, and then the 8/0 your thread is coming out of, skipping over the top of the crystal, like so. And that's your second unit. Turn your piece, go into the crystal and the next 8/0 seed bead, right here. Pull your thread through and pick up 2 11/0 seed beads, and then go into the far arm of the unit of your previous unit of right angle weave and into the 8/0, skipping over the top of the crystal. And again, you're just going to go all the way around. You're coming out of the 8/0, pick up 2 11/0s, grab the 11/0 from the previous unit, go back into the 8/0, skipping over the crystal, and pull. Straighten everything out, turn your piece. Go into the next crystal and exit the next 8/0. And again, 2 11/0 seed beads. I'll get closer for this last unit here. So I'm going through this 11/0 into the 8/0, just as we have been doing, creating this unit here. Now I have 1 8/0 seed bead left, so I have one more unit to do. I go through the crystal, exit that last 8/0. Now we're going to connect, we're going to use this 8/0, this 11/0 seed bead, and this 11/0 seed bead for this last unit. So I'm coming out of the 8/0, I'm going to go into the 11/0 in this unit over here, closest to where my thread is coming out, pull, and then pick up an 11/0 seed bead. Cross over to the 11/0 on this unit over here, closest to the 8/0 seed bead you're going to go into. and then pick up the 8/0 seed bead. Also, if you can. If you can't, just pull the 11/0 through, then go into the 8/0 and the 11/0 on the other side, or do them one at a time, doesn't matter. Just pull that unit together. Now on this one, it always wants to get caught on the crystal, so just pull your thread into the center like so. And then we have to sew back through this entire unit to connect it. So I'm coming out of this bead here, I need to go into this one here, right here. I'll pick up my 11/0 again on this side, go into my 8/0, and this will pull this unit into place correctly. Make sure your thread goes down between the 8/0 and the crystal there, and then go up into this 11/0 and exit the one on top so that we can start our next row. Go up this one, and it's laying tightly in there. Give me a minute here, and then the top one. So now I'm in this top bead and my last unit of right angle weave right there, and I can start my next row of right angle weave. This one we want to do 8/0s and 11/0s, so we're going to pick up an 11/0, an 8/0, and an 11/0. We're going to go into the opposite side of the bead we're coming out of, pull this down and create the first unit, and then go into the top bead of the next unit of right angle weave and pick up an 11/0, an 8/0, go into the side bead of the unit you created before that one, and into the bead you're coming out of. Same thing we've been doing, but now we're making our row here so that we can put our SuperDuos back into the mix here. Then go into your next bead in your next unit and 11/0, 8/0. And I know this is repetitious, but I'm going to show you a complete segment so that you can do a couple of segments on your own off of camera time here. Go into the next unit. It's the same thing we've been doing. Just continue sewing all the way around, making units of right angle weave. When you come out of that unit, go into the next unit. Pick up an 11/0 and an 8/0. We'll scoot in real close for a minute. 11/0, 8/0, into the side arm of that one. And now we have one unit left to do, so of course we have to combine the two previous units with this last unit. So our first unit we made and the last unit we made will form our very last unit. So we're going to go into the bottom bead, our last little 11/0 and our last unit of right angle weave, and then we're going to go into the side bead over here, and then we're going to pick up an 8/0 seed bead. And then we have to sew back through all three of these beads to connect this unit. So into that side arm, into the center bead, into this side bead here, and then come up into the 8/0. Sorry, little family interruption there. So now we are ready to go ahead and start another segment of our SuperDuos. Back off a little here. So we're just going to put SuperDuos in between the 8/0 seed beads and start 10 more rows of peyote. So go from bead 8/0 to 8/0, putting your SuperDuo beads in. Give a little tug after each one. Until you get all the way around. On these joining ones here, you're going to want to go through the last SuperDuo and 8/0 and then go into the next set just to make sure that everything is nice and secure. Or you can sew all the way around the entire thing and then start moving up, making your tube. But just make sure you at least go into another set and then go into the top hole of the SuperDuo you're coming out of. Go through an 8/0, a SuperDuo, exit the SuperDuo, and then go into the top hole and start going the opposite direction, putting in your SuperDuos top hole to top hole. Go all the way around, connecting them. They'll start to form a tube right away. And now there's plenty to hold on to, so it's easier to start your peyote again. I have a knot in my thread, there we go. And I'm just going to continue until I get all the way around, putting in my 6th SuperDuo. And this is it right here. So I'll go from this top hole in this bead to this top hole in this bead and into the bottom hole in the first bead I put in on the round I'm doing. So into these 2 beads right here. And exit right there. Pull my thread through. And if you find that it's loose, just a trick for you guys, you would go directly up into this bead right here into the hole and start your next round. But if you find that things are too loose, go into the next 2 beads, like so. Pull things together, and then go into the top hole of that bead. That way you'll tighten up your last round if you are so inclined. And then you can begin your peyote again. And you're going to go ahead and do this until you have 10 more rows. You're going to count the rows like I showed you previously, 1, 2, 3, 4, and make 10 rows of your SuperDuo peyote. Then you're going to put your 8/0 seed beads in and make another connection of right angle weave, and put your crystals in, right angle weave, then 10 more peyote. So you're going to make 2 more sections just like this one with these dividers in between of the right angle weave. And then we will be back to do the center of the necklace. So go ahead and do, just if you need to, reverse or back up the video and watch this section after you've made your 10 rows of peyote. Back it up, watch this section again, and do exactly the same thing. And then when you've completed it and you're starting your next row, do 10 more rows, do another section until you come to your last row of 8/0 seed beads, and we'll be back. Okay, so I have made my 3 segments of peyote with my right angle weave units in between, and I've ended with a right angle weave unit exactly as we did between this unit here, the one that I showed you on video. It's exactly the same. I've ended on the step where I just have my 8/0s ready and available for my peyote. So this time we're going to do the same thing, except for we're only going to do 5 rows of peyote, and then we're going to put another layer or another segment of the right angle weave. So we can do most of that off camera, but I just wanted to show you what I mean. I'm just going to start doing my peyote with my SuperDuos exactly as I did this, except for I'm going to make only 5 rows, and then I'm going to do a segment of right angle weave, and then again I will end on the 8/0 seed beads, just like I came back with this one, the segment of right angle weave on the 8/0 seed beads. So go ahead and make 5 rows of your peyote with your SuperDuos, and we'll be back. Okay, so I have done my 5 units of peyote and then my next segment of my prismatic right angle weave here. And now I am going to do a little bit different here. We're going to put a super duo between each one, but we're going to make a little bit different shape of a unit now. So I've ended on my 8/0 seed beads. Make sure you're coming up through one of your 8/0 seed beads, and then begin to put peyote. Yes, well, yes. Put your super duos between each stitch. And then, because this is going to be a little bit different, we're going to sew back around all of these beads. So we're going to sew into all the super duos and all the 8/0s to secure this. I hope I was in camera. I just put my super duos in between my 8/0s, just like we've been doing, to start a new segment of peyote. Then we're going to sew around all of these beads again to secure them. But first, I'm going to extend my fire line just so that I don't run out in the middle of showing you this next step. So I will be back, and we will secure this. Okay, and do so I have extended my fire line, and now I'm just going to go ahead and secure these. So I'm just going to sew through all of these beads, and I'm going to have to pull kind of hard to get my joint through, because again, I made it kind of big. Try not to do that, but sometimes they just turn out big. And I'm just going to sew through. Make sure my knot comes through over there. And then sew through a couple more. Pull my extension in so I'm done pulling it through my beads. And now we're going to come up into the top hole of the super duo. So after you've gone through, make sure you're exiting a super duo. Doesn't matter where, just exit a super duo and come through. And now we are going to pick up a 4mm round, one of our pearls here. And we're going to go from top hole to top hole and put a pearl in between our super duos all the way around until you have 6 pearls in place here. Sorry, my pearls do not want to pick up. I'll back off so you can see what I'm doing so I don't bore you to death, but all the way around. I'm showing each step in full, not cutting anything off of each different type of step we're doing because they're all repetitive. So that way, as we do move through our piece, you can just go back to that segment of video. So now, well, I've gone all the way around. I am going to go ahead and go through another super duo and another pearl just to make sure I'm really secure here. And then I'm going to start picking up super duos again. So I'm coming out of the pearl, I'm going to pick up a super duo, and I'm going to go into this pearl. So just going to go right on top of the super duo that I've already put in there and just pull these like this. And then I'm going to go into the next pearl and just put super duos all the way around, like so. It's going to look funny. That's okay. Don't worry about that. And I just kind of squish them together. And then one more here. And then I'm going to sew through the next SuperDuo 2. Now I'm going to go ahead and sew through the next purl. Pull this very tightly. Then I'm going to go into the SuperDuo, the bottom hole of the SuperDuo next to the purl I'm in. Get you a little closer so you can see what I'm doing. Right there. And now, actually, we should probably just go ahead and double this. Let's just sew all the way around again, just to make sure that these SuperDuos and purls are very secure. And tight. I realize this is boring to watch, but as I said, I want you to see the entire segment so that when you got to do one on your own, you can back up and follow again if you need to. Okay, so now I've got a double thread through there. I'm going to go into the bottom hole of this SuperDuo right next to the purl I'm coming out of, and then I'm going to go into the top hole of the SuperDuo. And now I'm going to grab 8 seed beads and go from top hole to top hole in the SuperDuos and pull them in like so. They resist at first, but as you work your way around, they'll start to tighten up, and then we can sew through them and secure them again too. And it'll form kind of a SuperDuo and purl ball, and that's what we want. It's really kind of cool looking when you get done. And then I'm going from my last SuperDuo to my last SuperDuo, from here to here, putting in my 8-0. I'm going to also go through an 8-0 and another SuperDuo, just so that I have good grounding to pull this. And now I'm going to sew back through all of this just to make sure that every single one of these beads is nice and tight, so that when I start my right angle weave again, it will pull together really nice for me, and nothing will pull out of shape as I start my next stitch. So once you get around, then go into just an 8-0 seed bead, like so. And then we're going to start our segments of right angle weave again. I'm going to go ahead and show you. We're going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads. We're coming out of this 8-0 seed bead. We're going to go into the opposite side of the 8-0, go into the SuperDuo behind it and the 8-0 behind that, and pull these down like so. Now we're going to pick up 2 11-0 seed beads, and we're going to go from this 8-0 to this 11-0 in the previous unit right here, the one closest to the bead you're going to go back into. Go back into that 8-0 right there. Seems like it won't fit, but the beauty of this particular stitch, the prismatic right angle weave, is that you can sculpt with it, and it will pull in and it'll do all kinds of cool stuff. So then we're going to go into the next SuperDuo and the next 8-0. And we're going to pick up 2 11-0 seed beads and come back into the 11-0 closest to the bead that we're coming out of. So we're coming out of this bead, we're going to go into this 11-0 and then into the 8-0. And just ignore the SuperDuos, go over the top of them. Pull it together. Then go into the next SuperDuo and the next 8-0 and exit the 8-0. And again, pick up 2 11-0 seed beads, go into the 11-0, closest to the bead that you're connecting to, and pull the beads down. Go into the next SuperDuo and next 8/0. I'm going to back off just slightly so I can stay in camera a little bit better. And then we're going to pick up two 11/0 seed beads and go into the 11/0 closest to the bead we're connecting to. And then again, this is our last one, so we're going to go through the SuperDuo, exit the 8/0. Now we have to connect this 8/0 to this bead and this bead. So we're going to come up through this bead here because it's closest to where our thread is coming out. So we're going to go up through it, pick up an 11/0. I better get you closer for just a minute. Sorry guys, but coming out here, pick up an 11/0 because the only thing we're missing in this last unit is the top 11/0. So we're going to put it in, go through the side 11/0 and back through the 8/0. And then connect back to the first bead here. Right there. Just like we've been doing on all the other units, exact same stitch. It's just that now we're connecting a little ball together like this. It turns out really pretty. And now we have to do exact same thing that we did here. So we're going to go into a top bead, and we're going to pick up an 11/0, an 8/0, and an 11/0. Oops, I got two 8/0s. Hang on a second here. And we're going to start a new row of right angle weave. So we're going to go into the opposite side of the bead we're coming out of with our 3 beads here and pull this down. Turn your piece. Go into the next 11/0 in the next unit of right angle weave. It looks like you're just right on top of that bead with your other beads. But the beauty of this stitch is it pulls everything out as you do it. So don't worry about not having enough room. Just make sure you don't miss a bead. So we're going into this one, pick up an 11/0, pick up an 8/0, go into the 11/0 in the unit closest to the bead you're connecting to in the previous unit, and pull. And then as you see, as you pull, it straightens your beads out for you, so you don't have to worry about that. Then we're going to go down into the next 11/0. Pick up an 11/0 and an 8/0 and go into the 11/0 in the previous unit, back down into the 11/0 that we're coming out of. So if you know how to do cubic right angle weave, this will be really easy for you. Now we need to go into the next bead on the unit itself, and then pick up an 11/0 and an 8/0. Go into the side bead, go into the bottom bead that you're coming out of, and pull your unit together. Go into the next bottom bead. Always go into the bead on your unit first, the middle bead of your next unit of right angle weave. Then pick up a side bead and an 8/0. So you pick up your 11/0 and your 8/0. Go back through like so. Now we have one 11/0 left on our original unit. So go through it. Pick up your 11/0 again, and an 8/0, and go through. Now we are set up to do the crystals and the other side of the right angle weave, and then once you get to the stage where you have the 8/0s on the end like this, so you're going to do this part and then this part, and then put the 8/0s in, we'll be back. Okay, and that's what that should look like once you finish your units of right angle weave and you are ready to move on to your next segment. So now we're just going to do another segment of 5 rows of right angle weave again, and then we'll do another ball. So what I have decided to do, I went ahead and did my 5 units my ball, my right angle weave, my 5 units of peyote with the SuperDuos, my right angle weave, my another ball, and then I'm going to do right angle weave, or I have done right angle weave, and then here I'm going to place another ball, and then we'll go the opposite direction doing exactly the same thing, just in reverse. So after creating my 5 units of peyote with my SuperDuos, and then creating the right angle weave section, and then the ball that I showed you, and then the right angle weave section, I created another section of 5 units of, or 5 rows of peyote with the SuperDuos, then the right angle weave, and then another ball, and then I created 2 more balls with right angle weave sections between them. And now I will do another right angle weave section, and then I will just repeat this side in reverse. So I'll do this 5 units of peyote with the right angle weave in between, another ball, 5 units of peyote with the right angle weave in between, and then the 3 sections of 10 rows of peyote with the right angle weave section in between. Now, I'm not going to show each and every step because they're all exactly the same. It's very repetitive. Back up the video and watch each section if you need help. If you get, like, say you create your ball and then you're forgetting how to do the right angle weave, back it up, watch the right angle weave section. Each section is exactly the same as I showed you. I'm just doing it in different order. So you can also create whatever order you want. If you just want to make an entire necklace of peyote with right angle weave in between, that's fine too. If you want to make an entire necklace of the balls with right angle weave in between, you could do that too. You have all the knowledge of each and every step to make this necklace the way I'm making it, or the way you want to make it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put my section of right angle weave, and then I'll just do exactly the same as I've done on this side in reverse from this way around, and then I will come back and I will show you how to clasp the ends, and we will be done. Okay, so as you can see, I have finished my entire other side of the necklace. I'm going to show you the order of components that I did in my necklace. I did 3 units, or 3 components, basically 3 sections of the peyote with 10 rows of SuperDuos, and then the sections of right angle weave with the crystals in between. So 3 with 10, and then I did 5 rows of the SuperDuos and a section of right angle weave, a ball, section of right angle weave, 5 components, and then 3 balls with the right angle weave in between them, and then 5 units, and then a ball, 5 units, or 5 rows, I guess you would say, and then my 3 sections with the 10 rows of peyote. So I'll just put this here so you can see it, and I'll stay on it for a second so you can see exactly what it is. And you can pause it here and look at it, write down the order if you want it to be the same order. And then we'll go ahead and clasp. So now let's do our clasping. I am coming out of this 11-0 on top here after putting on my last row of right angle weave on the very top here through the 8-0s, and I am now going to, I have sewn up into one of the top beads in the right angle weave, and I'm just coming out right here. I'm going to go through one more 11-0, so I'm coming out of this 11-0, I'm just skipping over to the next one, and I'm going to go through it. So basically I'm going through 2 of the top beads in the right angle weave on the top here. Now I'm going to pick up an 11-0, an 8-0, and my clasp. I'm going to drop the 11-0 and 8-0 down to my work. I'm going to go through my clasp, and then I'm going to go back through the 8-0 seed bead. And I'm just going to hold on to the 8-0 and pull my thread through until I have it lined up pretty nice, like so. Now let's get really close so you can see. Whoop, too close, sorry. There we go, I think. Yeah, okay, it's cleared up. Now, I'm coming out of these two 8/0s, or 11/0s right here. I'm going to pick up an 11/0 seed bead onto my needle, and then I'm going to go back into those two 11/0s and exit the one I started in, like so, and pull this around like so. Now I'm going to sew back up through all of these beads. So I'm going to go through the 11/0, the 8/0, and my clasp. Then I'm going to go back down into the 8/0 and the 11/0 on the other side here and pull, and then back through the two beads that I started in, like so. Now I'm going to sew, I'm coming out of these two beads, I'm going to sew through this one and these two and exit right here. So I'm just going to sew through this one individually, and then I'll come through both of these two beads on this side right here so we can balance this. I'm going to pick up an 11/0 seed bead, and I'm going to go up through the 8/0. So I've got my 11/0, I'm going to go up through this 11/0, and I'm just going to pull this. And then I'll go through my clasp, and then back through the 8/0, and then I will pick up another 11/0 seed bead. And I will go, I'm coming out here from my 8/0, I'm going to go back into the two 11/0s that I started in, right here, and pull this down, like so. That's what you should have. Now sew back up through the 11/0 right above where your thread's coming out of, the one that you added, putting your clasp on, and then go through the clasp, go back down through the 8/0, and then through the other 11/0 that you added to put on your clasp on this side, and then back through the two 11/0s. And that should be secure enough, like so. And then you can see we have a nice little clasping done here. So now I'm going to go down into the 11/0 here, and then into the 8/0 here, and then I'm going to sew through this SuperDuo in the next 8/0, and right here between the SuperDuo and the 8/0 I'm going to try to grab that thread bridge, see if I can do it, to tie a knot. It's pretty tight, but I think I got it. Make a loop, tie a knot, and then I'm going to sew through a few more beads. So I'll go through this SuperDuo, the next 8/0, and tie another knot. I'll just work my way around the top, doing that a couple of times, sewing through a few beads. So tie another knot, and then I'll just go through this SuperDuo here, the 8/0 here, and you can sew as much as you want, but I think I'm going to go ahead and cut off my thread, and then I will burn it down, and I'll show you how to set up the other side with your tail, because we're going to put two 8/0 seed beads here just so that we have enough room to bring our toggle, or our straight end of our clasp, through the round end of the toggle. It's a little too much thread to burn down. And then off camera we'll finish it up. So what you're going to do now, this is the other end, so this is the end I just finished, this is the other end, and I left some thread here to do my on my tail, to do my clasping. I didn't leave a really long one, but I should have enough. I'm going to go put my needle on here. And then I will set it up so that you can see how I want to do it. I'm coming through an 8/0 seed bead, or no, I'm coming through the right angle weave here, so I need to go through the 8/0 seed bead, and then up a side 11/0, and then through a top 11/0 right here. And let's get you close. So now I'm going to go through one more 11/0 so that I'm going through two of them. So you want to make sure you're going through two, and then you will pick up an 11/0 seed bead and two 8/0s and drop it down. And then, oops, I've got a funny colored 8/0. Okay, so it's probably the only one mixed in there. Of course, I have to pick it up. So now I have an 11/0 and two 8/0s and my clasp. I'm going to come down through the two 8/0s, pull my thread through like so, and then into the 11/0 on the other side. So I'm going back through the two that I've started in, but on the opposite side, and pull this down. Now that's how you'll do this side. Go ahead and sew through that again, and then sew through one of the 11/0s, and then grab the two on the other side and go up through it and do exactly like we did on the other side. The only difference is you're coming through two 8/0s instead of one. Once you have finished that, tied it off just like we did this side. We'll be back and I'll show you the finished product. And here is my finished clasping. Works just fine. You can see that the toggle travels through really nicely. I'll show you. So it works fine. And this is the finished product. Let me get it straightened out. I'll back off even more here. This is a 22-inch necklace. You can change the length by doing more or less units of your peyote. Back here, you can even just make your units longer. So instead of doing 10 rows, you can do 12 rows, 15 rows, whatever you want. Or you can do 5 rows. It doesn't matter. You can change the length by changing the amount of your sections, or by changing the amount of beads in your section. It doesn't matter. You can make it really long. You can make it shorter. This is 22 inches, like I said, so it will hang below the collarbone. And it turned out really nice. It hangs nice on the neck, and it's just really very pretty. So let me get it all organized here and see what it looks like. There. Still not perfect, but you know, there. That's good enough. That's what that looks like right there. My desk is a mess, but there you go. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. See you next time. Bye-bye.